Hey, welcome to video number 172 of Walker This Way with Hazel Walker, the queen of all things.
The queen of all things networking and BNI, and it's St. Patty's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. I noticed our lack of green.
I know, I thought about, but I really don't own hardly anything in green.
Actually, I can't even put anything green up because the green screen would just disappear.
I know.
Which would be funny.
Which is probably why we didn't wear green.
Probably, yes. But yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day. And Hazel, speaking of celebrating, I was at an amazing visitors day the other day at a chapter and presented. And you know, when we have a visitors day and at the there's visitor day is membership drive, it's to grow membership in a chapter. So the hope on a visitors day, and what I said to them is a successful visitors day is one where applications come in. A good visitor day is when 10% of those visitors put in an application, and a great visitors day is when 20% pull in.
Yeah.
And we do the rooms at the end with the visitor engagement to 1 or 2 or 3, which we'll talk about in a bit. But the ones are generally those that are ready to commit and apply to the chapter. And the surprise was that out of all these visitors in the meeting, only one went into this number 1 room.
Like they were ready to write the check.
Ready, out of everybody. And I got to ask the question, why do you think that is? Because that's not a normal thing that happens when we're having these, you know, with 30 plus visitors in a room. I started looking at the room and I went, there was a different group in the room, a much younger group.
Compared to what?
Compared to other chapters that I've seen that have like an older group.
Like you just did a visitor day in another chapter. How was it?
I was at a visitor day in another chapter with a different group, an older age category. I'm not talking seniors, but an older age category. And they had 10 people in the number 1s ready to commit, like we're ready.
Like ready to write the check, do my interview, let's go.
Everything. And started thinking about this and went, I think we got to really understand who's in our room.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not the same. It's not the same across the board from 20 to 80. It's not the same.
It is not.
Right. And the expectations are a little different then. Process same, expectations are different.
Right.
So what are all of us, what should we be looking at and going forward as part of this process?
You do have to look at, you got to spend more. And I've been watching all of these content creators talk about this a lot lately, is all the different the Gen Xers, the millennials, we've got the Gen Zs, the Gen Ys, we've got all these different generations. And the youngest generation now that's coming into business are I think it's the Gen Zs. Mm-hmm. I could be wrong, and I probably should look that up, but it's right. They're following the millennials, right? They've hit that 20, 25 year age where the millennials now are up in their later mid 30s at the youngest level. So they're coming into BNI chapters now. Mm-hmm. And the one thing I've noticed about them, much like the millennials, they don't want to really work for companies. They're kind of starting their own businesses and doing their own thing. But even if you're trying to sell them insurance or sell them anything, they don't make a decision fast. So when you talk about the older chapter, you're probably seeing a lot of Gen Xers and millennials coming in there, and they are capable of making fast decisions now because they've lived a bit of life and they know what they want and they'll just do it. The younger groups of the next 2 groups are coming into the business age. They're not as experienced in their business and their life, and they're not making decisions fast because they're asking for advice. They're looking around. They're trying to determine if this is the right thing for them. Mm-hmm. And they're not making that as fast. So you got to know which one you're going to, who are you speaking to? Because if you're speaking to those younger age, you're going to have to follow up a whole lot more.
Right.
Just, you know, as a Gen Xer, like I have 2 daughters that are Gen Xers and one is a millennial. Those all three of them now are able to make quick, fast decisions about what they want to do and what they know they don't want to do.
Yeah.
What will work for them and what won't. Because they're
So-
experienced.
Yeah, so it's really understanding who's in the room and then setting your expectations as such, which doesn't mean that if even if you're not getting a lot of applications in, that doesn't mean they're not interested.
Correct.
Just you have some more work to do, right?
And
Which
it's
takes
the place we fall down the most.
yeah, and what is that work? It is the
Follow-up.
follow-up. Like
What's
real
your follow-up?
Follow-up isn't an email, which I sent an email.
Yeah, that's not a follow-up, because if you send me an email, I'm likely not going to open it because I'm trying to do business.
Right, and we all receive a ton of emails.
I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah, so email's not the follow-up.
Uh-uh.
What is the follow-up?
So there's multiple ways to follow up. First off, there's, especially now, it works better than ever. It hasn't worked in a long time. Send a postcard, send a thank you note. Just a little thank you. Thank you for visiting us. We enjoyed having you at our meeting. And it should have your contact information on it.
Yeah.
So simple, drop it in the mail, let them get it. They remember it. When I ask people why they joined the chapter, they joined this because, you know, I got thank you notes from them and they called me. They asked me, they wanted me.
I know of a couple of chapters who religiously, for years, because they have a send out card representative in the chapter as a member, have an account with this member.
Yep.
And everybody who attends gets a card. Even when I visit and if I do a presentation, I get a card thanking. For my birthday, I got one with my baby picture on it. I don't know where they got that from.
Off your
But
Facebook. They go pull pictures
Right.
from your Facebook pages.
yeah, so there it is. But religiously, they're sending out those cards, and it is really cool to receive one.
It is
Right.
really great. And it makes an impression. So even if they don't come back to you right away, they will remember that they did get it something in the mail. They
Yeah.
were thanked for you. And when they see your name or they see the logo again, it will trigger that memory. Then the other part is the piece that seems to be what everybody hates. Pick up the phone.
Yeah, these crazy things. Oh, you can. My phone's here somewhere.
And well, let's talk
You can
about
talk to
that.
people.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Okay.
You can call me and I'll talk to you. You can call my daughters and they'll pick up the phone and talk to you. You call my grandchildren, they're not going to answer the phone. Send them a text message.
I know. You got to know the room too.
Got to know the room, because that young group will respond to a text message where they won't pick the phone up and have a conversation.
But a text message is far better than an email in reality.
Absolutely, because it's coming
Yeah.
to my phone and I'm always going to check it,
Correct.
right? So
Yeah.
that's an
We're-
easy no-brainer. Send a text message.
We are conditioned by dings. The world stops when a ding happens. Oh my God. Sorry. I got a message, right?
Right? I know.
So-
I know when I meditate, I must turn off all notifications because I'm in the middle of a meditation. I get a little ding and I'm like, oh, wait, I'm meditating.
Yeah.
Right?
So let's look at the next step then. So one of the things we're trying to introduce chapters to do, and this is done in launch, and we're trying to introduce chapters into doing this, is measuring visitor engagement by having what's
Right, we
called a 1,
created
2,
a form
3.
for that. Yep.
Right. The ones, the twos, and the threes. Number ones, they're ready to put in an application. We don't
Right
ask people to join. We ask them to apply, put an application right now. That's a number one.
They've got credit cards, they've got the application when they're ready to fill it out, and
Yeah.
they're ready, they want to schedule their interview.
Ready to commit to the
Go.
process. Twos, they're on the fence. They have questions.
They're golden.
They are the gold because they have questions. They're like, I hold that people are one word or one conversation away from clarity. And they're like one question away from maybe committing or making a decision not to. But if they don't get to ask the question, it's a no. And the
Yeah.
number twos, especially when we're doing the breakout rooms or visitor orientations, those number twos are really important. They need their questions answered. It's not to talk at them about BNI, it's to answer their questions.
Answer their,
Okay.
yeah, don't be telling them, because I listen to people do that and here's our policies, that's not what they want.
Oh my.
Let them ask questions.
Yeah, and I sat in when we were it was about a year and a half ago in a chapter, and I went into the visitor host orientation breakout room they had, and the visitor host coordinator talked for 15 minutes at them. And I messaged him privately. I said, this is their chance to ask questions. Please let them ask a question. And the one person got asked the question, boom, we're back in the room. Nobody got to ask, and they got 0 applications in from that.
Yeah,
right?
you've got to allow them to ask the questions because they're trying, and that's going to be especially true with your young groups who you're trying to convert, because they're going to have more questions. They haven't been networking. They've graduated from universities. They've started businesses. They have no experience at this.
Yeah.
So they're going to have a lot of questions.
Right. And then
And
the
you've
number
gotta let 'em have
threes, the number threes are those that B&I might not be for them right now at all. They may be good refers of people who might want to apply.
They
to the
might be
chapter.
buyers.
They might be buyers, right?
Yeah.
And so it's important to understand that. And with the number threes, as you said, send a postcard. Thank you.
They
ma'am.
you don't have to do a phone call or a text message. You just send them
Hey, thank you.
a postcard and a thank you for visiting. And they've already said, you know, they've opted in for the newsletter. So good enough.
Yeah. Number twos is answer the
That's
questions, a phone call and a postcard.
Yep.
Any more questions? And when we say phone call, it's the person who invited them, number one, and not or, but and. President is a great person to do a follow-up phone call. It's great getting a call from a president of something, of your chapter, or the visitor host coordinator, somebody with some energy.
Just remember, if they don't answer the phone call and you're trying to get hold of one of the younger people, you better text them.
Or text them, right? But it's coming from, hi, I'm the president of the chapter. Thank you for attending, whatever it is.
Yep.
And then the number ones is definitely a follow-up phone call.
Can we
Right.
schedule your interview?
Yeah. But if you
Do
don't
you know
do
how
any
to
of
get
those,
to the application? It's online.
Yeah.
How do we help you get the application done? Can we schedule you? You're just walking them through getting them started.
so let's tie this puppy up in a nice package. Number one, read the room, know who's in the room, set your expectations accordingly. The common thread in all of this is the next two pieces. Measure the level of engagement and follow up, regardless of who's in the room,
Yeah.
right? But understand who's in the room.
Understand who's in the room and do something after we drop the ball after the meeting. We might pay a lot of attention during the meeting, but the moment they're gone, out of sight, out of mind.
Right. The fortune is where, Hazel Walker?
In the follow-up.
And that's where we'll leave you. Till next time. Bye.
Bye.